Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Hello there. This is Game Day Live with Sam Wu and Vinnie Parise as the Devils will be taking on the Detroit Red Wings tonight. We are coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios bunker in beautiful New Jersey and in Chicago, Illinois. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. As we want to comfort you after last night's loss against the Washington Capitals, do you believe that the New Jersey Devils are going to rebound and beat the Red Wings tonight? Vinny, how are you, my friend?
Sam, I'm doing great. I know our little pre-show conversation led to you having a very interesting way of opening the show just now. Everyone's probably watching going like, what is wrong with Sam Wu? Actually, nothing's wrong with Sam Wu. He is on his game. He knows what he's doing. He knows that the New Jersey Devils got absolutely crapped on last night. That's actually kind of weird because the final score was 6-3, but once again, it was one of those losses where they played better for a large portion of the game, but one bad period kind of ruined things for them. Well, here we are again one night later. You get a chance to play again. You forget about what happened against Washington. They haven't beaten Washington at home in over 2 years. They got to figure that out. That's something that's got to get fixed. But against Detroit on the road, maybe things get back to the way they were before the 3-game winning streak came to an end last night. I don't know about you. I'm not feeling as lovey-dovey as you are right now, if you will.
Vinny, I'm trying to have a calm voice because I almost lost my voice yesterday on Devils After Dark. And I don't want to lose my voice like I did at the New York Mets game, Game 3, when the cheater was out pitching. So, enough shenanigans. Why does this Devils team revert back to bad habits of the past? They were doing just fine in the 3-game winning streak. And then bad passes instead of going north-south, they're going east-west, pucks up the middle, undisciplined plays. It was really a bad second half of the second period. If you think about it, that's when, what did Detroit score throughout? Like 5 unanswered goals? Was it 5?
Yeah. They scored, and they took bad penalties. Right, and we know what Ovechkin can do when he gets a chance on the power play. And everyone was saying, oh, bad goal by Blackwood. Sure, I mean, I guess if your definition of a bad goal is an unscreened goal from more than 20 feet away, then yes, it was a bad goal. But it's Alexander Ovechkin who scored 750-something of those things. He's 19 goals away from breaking Brett Hall's record for the second most, or no, is it Brett Hall? Yeah, it's Brett Hall for second most in NHL history, and then he'll be on his way to trying to pass Waino for the most in NHL history. I mean, it's Ovechkin. That happens on the power play. Sometimes it's the other goals that they allowed on the power play. You can't take penalties against Washington. Having Ovechkin on that other side makes everybody else dangerous on this side. It's just stuff that can't happen. You can't take penalties. You have to be disciplined, and you have to make good passes because Washington will capitalize. They are a veteran team. I don't think when push comes to shove, they are better than New Jersey. I just don't. But when you play a sloppy game like that, or even just a sloppy period, because the Devils were better in the third period, and they kept pace with them in the first period. It was that middle frame once again. It was like the first 2 games of the season where they played well for a majority of it, but they played so bad when they weren't playing good that it cost them the game. I'm hoping they're able to revert back to the old way before tonight's game against the Detroit Red Wings, which promises to have like some strange lineups. The Devils are probably going to go back to 12-6 after doing 11-7 for the previous 4 games. And there were some game time decisions with players like Andre Palat because of injury and stuff like that. A couple people banged up. But this Red Wings team, we saw it. The Devils played a game against them earlier in the year, this time at home. Now it's on the road. But we'll see how they're able to kind of carry this momentum of the third period that was better. And I tweeted before the third period started. You're down by 4. It's 5-1. Go out there, have a strong third period. You might not win because it's hard to score 4 goals in 20 minutes. You might not win, but go be the better team for 20 minutes. Feel good about yourselves on the plane ride to Detroit. I think they did complete the first part. Hopefully they're able to get it done here tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? What's causing them these unforced errors, these passes? And one thing that I want to point out is all four corners of the rink, the Capitals dominated. And I don't know if they were rushing or I wouldn't say afraid. I have no idea, but it seemed like they were making second decisions when it didn't need to be. I don't know if they were facing some kind of pressure from the Capitals, but Damon Severson, Jesper Bratt, just why? Use the boards. Use that as your seventh player on the ice because the boards can help you out. But you have to hit the puck along the boards, not up the middle of the ice, these turnovers. I'm not going to fault Mac Black for the entire game. Could he have played better? Well, anybody could have played better in that game. But I think Lindy Ruff did the right thing by pulling him, not because he did anything wrong, but he was starting to get very frustrated. And handling that young goaltender, I think that was a smart move. And the Devils did get 2 back, made it interesting at 5-3, but it was a little too late at that point. And then Vanacek gave up that 1 goal, so it was 6-3. So what did I get out of that game? The Devils, again, it's like I'm almost can't trust them because they can revert at any given moment back to their losing ways, their bad habits. And they got to stop that. And Palat, he had one off game. He didn't seem sharp at all. The puck, bouncing off of his stick, misreading plays, a couple plays, just a little lethargic out there. I don't know. He just wasn't on his A game, but okay, he's allowed, after those 3 straight wins. But they better get it back together tonight. What did you say, Vinny?
There's a chance he was hurt because he's out at the lineup tonight. And they are back to 12-6. Holtz and Zetterlund are in. Palat's out. Ball's out. Mercer's playing center behind Heischer and Hughes. And Vanacek is getting the start in net. So you nailed it. The goalie in the third period, Vanacek coming in for Blackwood, he gave up that third goal. But guess what? It was a 2-on-1, and the Capitals made a nice play. The Devils were pressing. And you do that in the third when you're down a couple goals. You put a little emphasis on offense and you take risks. And a team like Washington might be able to capitalize on some of those risks. They did on the one that put the game out of reach in the end. But I liked the effort in the third period. I agree with you. But the Palat thing, he did have a bad game yesterday. But a bad game for Palat, I mean, he's still going to be that veteran presence and stuff like that. So having him out of the lineup tonight sucks, but it's an opportunity for Holtz and Zetterlund to take advantage.
Yeah, now I feel like an idiot because I put it on my blog that he sucked, and I didn't know that he was out of the game. When did they announce this?
He was a game time decision. Lindy Ruff didn't talk at all today. I don't know if you noticed, the Devils were just quiet all day today. There was nothing. There wasn't even a morning skate. They got into Detroit and they are basically just getting to the rink in time for the pregame skate. And I'm sure everybody got there earlier than that, obviously, but they didn't have a morning skate is where I'm getting with it. And it's just one of those things, like, I don't think you're wrong for putting that in the blog because even though you are probably injured or not feeling yourself 100%, you're still playing. You still got to not be terrible. And most of the players yesterday in one little stretch of the game were terrible. So Palat, it's not like he's void of criticism for yesterday's game just because he was a little banged up. It's not like he's going to be out for a long time. If you're good enough to play, you're good enough to play, and he played. So
yeah,
everybody should be held accountable.
Yeah, it's just here we go again. The information, the controlling of the information, not having the information at all except for a certain group. And that's what I hate about, the message coming out from the Devils sometimes. It's like, you didn't know all day, and then now you say, are you trying to, hold? It doesn't matter, Lindy. They're going to be prepared anyway, with or without Palat. What difference does it make? Detroit's going to have their own game plan anyway,
Yeah, and I'm not trying to lose my cool or anything like that. They lost they lost one game after having 3 really solid ones. And that game against the Islanders was as close to a masterpiece as you can get for an NHL team. The Devils have played exactly one game like that one in the last 4 years, and it was that one. I have not seen the Devils play a game like they did against the Islanders last week in 3 or 4 years. And it reminded me of the days with Parise and Kovalchuk and Henrique and Brodeur, like Elias. Like, it literally reminded me of that time when they would put together games like that every now and again. They gave up the one goal late, but it was almost a masterpiece. And that's why this one bad second period against Washington, I can't let it erase so one period out of the last 12 was awful, and they're 3-1 in that stretch. I'm not going to lose my cool yet. I'm going to trust that this team's just a little bit different than last year. I know the second period reverted some people to the feelings that went on last year and the year before, frankly, the COVID shortened year. But I think there's a chance that this team is just a tad bit different. They're a tad more developed. The young players on the team feel more in charge. They're more empowered. The Heischers, the Hughes, I think they can go out there and have a big game tonight against Detroit, and then it'll be a nice bounce-back effort from what happened yesterday, if that's the case.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. But, again, I just go with my gut feeling. I predicted this. I made my predictions back on Sunday, the Sunday edition, that they were going to lose both games. Don't know why I feel that way. I'm just still not feeling it. I still don't trust this team, that they're over the hump yet. Doesn't mean that they're a bad team. I just think that they're not there in their progress of finally putting this behind them, of being lackadaisical and just stupid plays, not playing smart hockey. I mean, Brant knows not to do that, and you could tell afterwards. Jack Hughes is frustrated as well. He's turning over the puck. I think maybe sometimes, and this is part of the maturation process, the maturity level of this team. They're still a young team, and they're making some of these mistakes because I think not so much that they suck, is I think they're trying to do too much and they're overthinking it. And if they could just simplify their game, use their talents when needed, their speed, their skill, and just not overcomplicate it, I think they'll be fine. I think Damon Severson is a great defenseman. The problem with Severson is I think he's just trying to do too much. He wants to do better, but sometimes you just got to make the simple and high percentage plays instead of taking so many risks. You got to take calculated risks. There are certain times you take calculated risks and be ready to get burned if it doesn't work out with the turnover.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even though you're spot on with the Bratt and the Hughes thing, Bratt scored and tried to lead the comeback there. I would say the move was great. He finally has his first. You would think that they start coming a little bit more. He has like a very high number of points for Devil skaters this year. Hughes has been a little snake bitten when it comes to the goal scoring, but his chances that he's created have mostly been good. I thought the Sharks game, everyone was saying he was like incredibly pedestrian in that game. He still created like a bunch of chances for his teammates. They have to start burying more. And they did in that 3-game winning streak, but the games they lose, it's so apparent. There are a couple plays here and there where they could be like 5-1-0 or 6-0-0. We'll give them one loss. We even give them 2 losses and make them 4-2-0. Instead, they're 3-3-0. They're going into this Detroit game. And Detroit, they're a team that's very similar to New Jersey. They're young. They have games where young players take over, and there are games where they look awful and blow leads like they did to Chicago, who's worse than them on paper. Like, there are so many comparables between these two teams, and I think we're going to see a little bit of that tonight. The Devils are on the second half of a back-to-back, and with a team that has Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin, some of the great young players in the NHL right now, you need Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt. Go be the difference makers. You look across the NHL and you click on the scores each night and you look at who produced for each team. Click on an Ottawa game and see who scored. Brady Tkachuk almost always participates in the scoring. Tim Stützle almost always contributes to the scoring. You click on the Toronto Maple Leafs, William Nylander, Austin Matthews, Mitchell Marner. I want to see more consistently when you click on the New Jersey Devils score, I want to see Nico Hischier. I want to see Jesper Bratt. I want to see Jack Hughes. Hopefully they're able to do that tonight. I personally think tonight's going to be a big game for the offense just because there's no way that they come out again and allow that third period that they had yesterday not to stick. And they have to have a big first period to keep it going. I wouldn't like their chances if they go down early, but as we've seen across the league as a whole this year too, the first goal means almost nothing. I know by Christmas we'll probably be feeling the opposite direction because it always levels out. But so far in the early going, the first goal has meant nothing. This is league wide too, not just New Jersey. But I got big hopes for tonight. They better come out strong and make me feel better and prove my point that I believe it's not quite the same as it was last year. And I'm not saying they have to go out there and smoke Detroit or even win for me to feel better. You can't have a period like that second period yesterday. I need 60 strong minutes where if Detroit beats you because they make one more play, fine. But that's going to happen. This is a young team. They're not a Stanley Cup contender where they might not even be a playoff contender. We will see. But they need to show growth. There has been growth so far through these 6 games. I believe that, but not enough for me to be like, I know for a fact they're going to bounce back tonight. I'm hoping they are. I want them to, but we will see.
Yeah, and also Amanda Stein tweeting out Alexander Holtz and Fabian Zetterlund are both warming up for the Devils. Boquist is not. With Palat out, looks like, and they're going 12-6. Holtz and Zetterlund will play tonight. Hopefully they can bring the energy, the young energy. We know what Zetterlund can bring. Some of the beefalytics is what we say on the podcast. Some of the edge craziness, because they need some of that energy right now. New energy. Here are the young reinforcements. Alexander Holtz, I think he's just destined to score tonight to keep himself in the lineup. And let's just hope that just happens. And, the Devils are coming from a second half of back-to-back. They're going to be a little bit tired. But I believe Vanacek is going to be starting, correct? Is he issuing?
Yes, Vanacek. Vanacek is in net. Blackwood is backing him up. And like you said, we're back to 12-7. There are updates now posted
12-6.
on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Or 12-6, that's what I meant. Yeah, 12-6.
Yep.
There are updates on, who's in and who's out on the Let's Go Devils podcast Twitter page at Let's Go Devils Pod. All this, news, new little tricks to the lineup from yesterday's game are in. But my biggest thing is Mercer playing center. I like Heischer, Hughes, Mercer, McLeod as a 1-4 punch. Now, a lot of people don't want McLeod in the lineup. I get it. I'd probably rather Boquist too, but as a fourth line center with Wood and Bastian, we'll see Hollis up on the second line with Hughes and Bratt. But Zetterlund played very well with Heischer last year. Let's not forget that, especially at the end of the year. Both of them kind of fed off of each other. And the Sharon Govich, Mercer, Holtz line, all 3 of those guys are young, and all 3 of those guys can score. So the last time we saw Holtz play in a game where he kind of needed to do something in order to stick, he did. I know it's preseason's preseason for a reason, but that last preseason game, Holtz came out on fire, and he earned his spot in the opening day roster. And I kind of get similar vibes in this game. Like, if he doesn't look very good, it's going to be a hard time to get back in the lineup, I would think.
Sorry, Vinny, I was eating a chocolate chip cookie with M&Ms, and I didn't want to eat on air. So that's why I went to the lunch.
A chocolate chip cookie with M&Ms. That sounds delightful. I love – fun fact about me, I talk about food a lot on all my shows, but I don't tweet about it very often, so I feel like the Devils community might not know this about me. I love M&Ms. It is one of my favorite things in the entire world.
Really?
When I go to the grocery store, I pick up bags. I like every flavor. There's really not a flavor of M&Ms I like. Whichever one is my favorite is different depending on the day you ask me. Right now, it would be the brownie ones in the light purple bag. But yeah, M&Ms are awesome. So I love M&M cookies.
Well, did you know that the M&Ms factory and Mars is located in New Jersey? You got to visit.
No, I did not know that. I did not know that. I've been to
you've been to Chocolate World, Hershey?
No. Now I'm trying to think of which one is in Illinois. There's something in Illinois too. I can't remember. It might even be like related to Mars in some way, but not like the factory like the one in New Jersey. I did not know that though. I've driven past Hershey and seen that in Pennsylvania, but I love M&Ms. Big fan.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, when you come over to New Jersey, At American Whiskey, I'll bring the M&Ms. Freshly
All right,
made.
we'll leave them.
Freshly made, probably get it at CVS or Rite Aid or something like that. But freshly made M&Ms.
That's what I like to hear. A little trick. My mom taught me this one time. You put them on like a little plate, and then you put them in the microwave for 10 seconds, and the outside stays crunchy, but the inside gets really warm really quickly. You only need 10 seconds. If you do more than 10 seconds, the outside won't be crunchy anymore. But yeah, that's really nice. That's a nice little M&M trick.
Yeah, and it's in Hackettstown, New Jersey, as what NJ Drummer 44. Yeah, it's near Enzo's. About 10 minutes away from Enzo's, Pasta Grill by Enzo's, is the M&M, the Mars company, whatever you call it. And also, I believe that they have a sponsorship deal with the New Jersey Devils. They've moved some of their facilities to Newark, New Jersey, as well. I also, my good friend JJ, his sister works there. She's a chemist. I was like, what does a chemist do at M&M, at Mars? And it's like, I don't know, but it's tasty. So maybe she's a food chemist.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Shout out to her because, man, whatever they're doing over there, it works. M&M's and ice cream, you put them in the freezer. There's so many possibilities with M&Ms and the peanut ones. You go to a vending machine, it has to be the peanut ones. You go to the store, I like the peanut butter. The brownie ones are amazing. Those are kind of new. Just plain Jane M&Ms, peanut. Like I think I said peanut butter, but they're all awesome.
You know what? We should have some kind of tailgate podcast on the Let's Go Devils network because we could talk food all day long. But this is Game Day Live, Vinny. You got to have wings and steaks and lobster tails when you talk about sports, surf and turf, all that. So that's how we always, get into that subject.
Yeah, what food makes you think hockey? Because football food to me is pizza and wings and nachos. But there's one thing hockey-wise that I just can't get out of my head when it comes to food. I make it during hockey season all the time. It's like a little pair.
What's that?
Pasta and chicken parm. And I know Bucci Gras started it 20 years ago with the chicken parm Ray Ferraro thing. But in my whole life, pasta and chicken parm, just pretty much any Italian dish with red sauce, it just goes together with hockey. And I think it's because it's cold outside usually, and the game is just on, and you've got a warm plate of pasta in front of you, some chicken parm. That's my favorite meal for hockey. Yeah, you know what?
Back in the day, back at the old Meadowlands, we used to tailgate. I don't know if you knew about this, Vinny. The tailgates this is what you did. The parking lot people didn't start till 4 p.m., so you try to get there prior, like around 3 p.m., so you didn't have to pay for parking. And then you just bring a lot of food with you. You bring your grill, and it's like a whole feast with other tailgaters, other Devils fans. You drink up, you go to the game, and then you continue, whatever leftovers you had or whatever food you didn't cook afterwards. And then by, I don't know, about 11:30 p.m., then you're out of there.
I love that. That sounds delightful.
Yeah, it's always the sobering up period, like you stop by the third period, then you go out tailgate, you put something in your stomach, you stop drinking, and then by 11:30 you should be just fine, and then you go home. That's how we used to do it. And then they moved to Newark, and then now we're at American Whiskey.
Which both sound delightful, but American Whiskey, that's great. You need to get to American Whiskey. If you're watching this show, whenever we're in town watching the game from American Whiskey, you need to be there.
Yeah, you have to be there. And people have been private messaging me about it and all that. I'm telling you, it's a great place. It's great people. The people care behind the scenes to make sure that you, the Devils fan, is satisfied. And I'm seeing a lot of predictions here. A lot of predictions coming from a lot of people. Art Heaton, 3-1 Wings. Ramona Rice will never bet against the Devils, 4-2 Devils. Anthony LaPena, 5-2 Detroit. People miss the Meadowlands. I miss the Meadowlands. I wish they had one game there. But Stan Fischler wrote on NHL.com in conjunction with the Devils. I didn't know about this, but back in the early 80s, I guess the Rangers at Madison Square Garden were kind of like arguing with the city of New York about the high taxes and threatened to move the Rangers and Knicks to Brendan Byrne Arena back in the early 80s. I never knew that. I never knew that because it was a new arena with no tenants. This is before the Devils, and they were using it as leverage because of the high taxes in New York City. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm going to say this for American whiskey at Madison, outside of Madison Square Garden, but like, does New York City even like the Rangers? I mean, they're going to knock down the building soon. I mean, it's just about to happen, you know. So I wonder about that stuff. Like, these politicians really want to knock down Madison Square Garden to build a train station? Like, what's wrong with you?
It gives us something to make fun of, that's for sure.
Yeah. We'll do a podcast on American whiskey outside of Madison Square Garden when the wrecking ball is there. Trust me. We have a plan.
I would love nothing more than that. I'm all in on that.
Wouldn't that be something? All right, so it's time for our BetStamp.app predictions. This is what we always do here at Game Day Live. I've been making money off the Devils losing last game. It might happen again, but Vinny, I want to hear your predictions because you seem pretty confident, don't you?
Yeah, I'm always confident until I'm not. I'm sure I'll be broken by December, but we'll see what happens. As of right now, I'm confident. And I went to the BetStamp app today, and I looked through, and I tried to figure out which sportsbook would fit my need for the bet that I wanted to make today. And I found via the FanDuel app that the Devils at minus 113 is my play. I believe they will win this game by a final score of 4-1. So minus 113. Both teams are minus, which means it's basically a pick 'em. The betting sites don't know really at all who's the underdog and who's the favorite here. Both teams are minus. I think the Devils are a slight favorite, but on the road, coming off a loss, didn't look really good in the second period. The league is always going to be weary whenever the Devils lose a game, the betting sites. But like I said, I went to the BetStamp app, betstamp.app, found that FanDuel has the price I'm looking for, laid some money on them. Devils win 4-1.
Well, same with me. I have the Red Wings winning 7-2 through the PointsBet Sportsbook. As Kyle says that Ryan Novozinski says that Luke Hughes and Seamus Casey are there tonight watching. They're probably like, oh, there's a lot of work to be done based on my prediction.
Yeah. I mean, Seamus Casey and Luke Hughes are two of the best college hockey defensemen right now so far to start this season, especially Luke. I mean, Luke might legitimately win the Hobey Baker Award, which, for those who don't know, that's like the Heisman Trophy for college hockey. And that Michigan team is rolling. I mean, they got stars all over the place. Luke Hughes and Seamus Casey are two unbelievable defensemen. And they also have Adam Fantilli, who's going to be the number 2 overall pick in the 2023 NHL draft. And we're hoping the Devils aren't part of that conversation by the end of the year, but you never know. I never thought we'd be talking about Jack Hughes and, Simone Nemec being on the Devils. Like, that just never would have ever crossed my mind. Nico Hischier made sense, but, you never know what happens. So Michigan is a great watch, and they'll be at the game. They didn't have to make too far of a drive from Ann Arbor to Detroit, so I hope they enjoy the game tonight and they find a big win for the road team.
Yeah, and I hope the Devils win, but you know what? When it comes to our money, Vinny, it's a different ball game, but that's what I say.
Yep, and if you think Sam Wu's an idiot for making that prediction, you go download the BetStamp app right now, and you find out which app is perfect for you to prove Sam wrong. Send us screenshots of your bets at Let's Go Devils Pod on Twitter. and we will be happy to either roast Sam or praise Sam for his prediction on tomorrow's Game Day Live. Tomorrow. I mean Friday.
Friday? Oh, Friday.
Friday.
I can't believe it's still Tuesday. I wish it was Friday.
Yeah.
But you never know. I may win the lottery, the Powerball, and buy the team. Then I could be like, ha ha ha! I can do whatever I want. Devils After Dark. After the game, we'll go over those BetStamp app approvals, stamp of approvals, and Scotty has been keeping track of our records. Vinny, at least somebody is. And one last thing before we go. You know what I discovered how to do last night? I took the MSG feed, the video feed, and synchronized Matt and Chico. It's a different experience. And it's not a knock on Dano and Bill Spalding at all. It's just I wanted to try it because Chico is a really good friend of the podcast, so is Dano, and Matt Lachlan, that I wanted to try something different. And, it's a different experience because radio or voice is more descriptive than on TV. And it's just a different experience. It's pretty cool. Although I am on a 3-minute delay to synchronize it, but it was pretty cool. I'm going to try to do that again tonight.
I do really like that idea. I've never done it, but I am going to try it at some point in my life because, like you said, Dano, Matt, they are friends of the program, but nobody is like Chico Resch in my book.
Yeah.
And He's been kind to us. He's been kind to me. He went out of his way in Chicago to come find me. This older gentleman has no reason to do that other than kindness, and he was nice to me and my brother and our girlfriends, and it was just truly a great time. So I will do that at one point. I'm interested to hear how it sounds because I've never done this with any sporting event. It's always more descriptive on the radio. They're telling you when the puck is being carried over the blue line, the red line. That doesn't happen on TV. It's a lot less descriptive, so I'm excited to try that at some point.
You know what we need to do? We need to get Chico or Dano out to American Whiskey outside of Madison Square Garden if we can. We would have to escort them there because, their safety matters because there's a bunch of Ranger fans out there. But, hey, we're in overtime right now. We're past top of the hour right now. I want to thank all those listening in, dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. Devils Red Wings tonight. Enjoy it, everybody. Devils After Dark, after the game. Found the music, Vinny. And, who will win? I don't know, Vinny. We shall find out. Till next time, this is Game Day Live. Let's go, Devils.